Welcome to the Amanda Hall Psychic Show here on A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV. Well, what an interesting and exciting week it's been around the globe, hasn't it? I mean, no matter where you are, I mean, we've had a change of seasons here in Australia. We've just gone into the first day of winter yesterday, and boy, didn't I notice that all of a sudden the temperature dropped. And I'm not complaining. I mean, we need to have the four seasons to sort of give us, I suppose, a perspective on change in our lives. And, you know, we've had so much change thrust upon us in this last 18 months, 2 years, that I think a lot of you'd be sort of looking for sort of let's be able to just exhale and say things are normal. Well, I don't know that we're going to quite get back to normal quite that quickly. It'd be lovely to think that we would. But I think for most of us now, we've found our quote new normal. We're sort of learning to be flexible and adjust to the sort of changing directions around us connected with COVID, and what our restrictions are might be locally, and whether we can travel or whether we can't. And it's made us all, I think differently about our lives, where things that we took for granted once upon a time or thought we'll get around to that now become more important to us, that we have to act on things as we see them or we sense them. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe we all became a little bit too self-absorbed in our own day-to-day life and our own day-to-day happiness, that we forgot to take into consideration the people and the events that make our lives special. So maybe that's one good thing to have come out of COVID, is that we've all had a little bit of a reset and starting to look at our lives differently and what's important to us. So it's a really good time, I think, wherever you are in this planet of ours. And I know for our USA family, they've just come through Memorial Weekend, and that's always a big event no matter where you are in the world and what time of the year that you celebrate Memorial Day or Memorial Weekend or what label you put on it. But it's honouring the people that have fought so hard in many different wars to keep us safe, to keep us free, to give us the type of lifestyle that we know today. And I think now we can probably, in a sense, probably add our people that we've lost during COVID into that too, because, you know, they fought a hard battle too. They're the ones that have set the precedents, I suppose, for our lives going forward. Had this not happened, we wouldn't have had the research, we wouldn't have had the development of a vaccine, we wouldn't have had so many different guidelines if we hadn't lost so many people that were important to us. So I think we need to remember those people as well, not just the people that fought in the world wars or that have been in the military. I think we can all do that right around the world, is just sort of over the next couple of days, remember the people that we've lost tragically during this terrible pandemic worldwide. Now let's get on to something more bright and positive and cheery. This week's card in the Simply Tarot card of the week is the Ten of Cups. Now it's one of my favourite cards because it says happiness, good things, party or celebration. Now, isn't that what we could all do within in our lives at the moment, is some good things, some things to celebrate, to be happy about, to be looking forward to the future in some sort of way, whether it's going to see loved ones or visiting friends or just even staying home and celebrating the fact that we're alive and we're well and we've got so much to look forward to in our lives, with so many choices and opportunities, that we really, truly are very fortunate to be alive at this time and to see all the changes that are taking place around the world, and that we are a small part of that. And that in itself is an amazing journey. So I think we all need to sort of take time out of our busy days to stop, celebrate, and look at the things that we're thankful for, and just have a little bit of a party, even if it's only in our mind for a few seconds, and say, I'm truly, truly grateful. So let's go to the astrology section of the week. Each week it seems to be getting more and more in momentum, and it's not that there's more actually happening astrologically. I think the fact is that people are sort of inboxing me and asking me so many more questions and sort of saying, I really enjoy that part of the show, Amanda. It gives me such insight into how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling this way, and it really has given me something not so much to use as a crutch, but something to use as a guideline or a checklist, and I can say, yes, I do resonate with that. Yes, that's exactly how I'm feeling. Now I understand it a little bit more. I can make better informed choices. So this week I want to kick off this section with not so much a planet, but it's known as a moon's node, or it's connected to the moon. So obviously anything connected to the moon is how we deal with things emotionally. Now, we only have two moon's nodes. We have one that says it's going north and one that says it's going south. And the moon's north node is trying to share with us or show us the way forward. Now, that's where I want to kick this segment off with, because the moon's north node is actually conjunct or holding hands with the sun in Gemini. Now, this is the Gemini time of the year, so this is the time of the year when we really should be doing a lot of communicating, a lot of thinking, harnessing of ideas. Things will come with like the snap of the fingers, and it's like we need to be ready to harness those ideas. So the North Node is showing us the way forward is through communication, is those light bulb moments, is getting out and enjoying our local environment. And that's also another energy connected to the Gemini energy, is not just about, you know, communication. It's about also getting out and exploring our own local environment and reconnecting with our roots. Now, this is very important because by doing this, even if it's a simple walk in the park or a stroll down by the river, or just sitting outside in your own garden and taking in the, you know, the warmth of the sun and sort of allowing your mind to wander, it's a time when we can get some really innovative ideas that will come in and out of our minds. So please always have your device with you, or a pad and pen or something like that if you're old-fashioned like me, and jot down the ideas as they come to you, because there may be some breakthrough moments or some really good suggestions or ideas that will come to you that you need to sort of harness that energy and be able to go back and explore it a little bit later on. So it's a really great time of the year for ideas, getting out, having some fun, being a little bit social, and even being a little bit frivolous. And I think we've earned that right to be a little bit frivolous and have a little bit of fun and not have a care in the world, even if it's only for 5 minutes before we get back to the serious side of living. Also in the Gemini energy, but not holding hands with the sun or the North Node, is Mercury, the planet of communication. Now, Mercury actually rules or feels most comfortable here in the sign of Gemini. So Mercury's back in his home, shall we say. So the ideas are going to be flowing thick and fast in no uncertain terms. So we've got lots of light bulb moments, but we've also got Mercury holding hands with Venus, the planet of love and affection, in Gemini. So this is really interesting because it means it's one of those rare times of the year where you can have some really detailed, in-depth conversations with your loved one, and this shouldn't spark arguments. It might spark some very gutsy sort of conversations where you're both sort of talking at the same time and really not listening to the other one, and both think that your needs have been met, and that's fine. But it's usually not a time where conversations are fiery or outspoken or destructive. It's usually on a very light-hearted note. Now, for those singles, and it doesn't matter which sign you're born under, this is the time of the year where maybe you want to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, explore some new things in your own local environment. You never know. Venus's arrows of love might just hit you and you might just meet that special someone. So it's a really important time of the year in lots of ways, lots of ideas, lots of new opportunities, but more importantly, get out and explore your own local environment. You never know what might be around the corner. For some of us, it will be love. Now, we need to shift direction astrologically with Mars, the planet of action. Mars is one of my favourite planets because where I see Mars in a chart, to me, is where I see somebody's going to be determined. They're going to put their determination hat on, and they're really going to keep going until they drop. Now, Mars is in the sign of Cancer at the moment. It doesn't particularly feel that comfortable there because Mars likes to be bossy and bombastic and sort of, you know, marching towards victory sort of thing, you know, sort of being the one leading the charge. Where the Cancerian energy is about subtlety, it's about home, it's about emotions, it's about feeling emotionally secure and safe and somewhere we can retreat to. So it's almost like two opposite energies trying to sort of cohabitate together in the one environment. Now, I'm not saying that they can't cohabitate together. I'm just saying it can be a little bit prickly from time to time because Mars is wanting to put his bossy boots hat on and Cancer's saying, let's just calm everything down, make sure everybody's comfortable, fed and watered, and, you know, and then we'll sort of approach the situation. So maybe if you've got something that you really need to get your determination hat on for, maybe you need to do it in a more gentle approach. Maybe the subtlety here is what's going to bring you the greatest success. And sometimes we need to approach things in life with a different direction. If you're not winning one way, then maybe try a different approach. Maybe that's the answer. Now, we've had, a great shift in planets in the last couple of weeks, but none more important, I think, than Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity. Now, Jupiter sits in a sign for approximately 12 months. Now, Jupiter's moved out of the sign of Aquarius and just moved into the sign of Pisces, which is where I feel it feels most comfortable. In a sense, it's almost like it's second home to me for Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, but he also feels equally as comfortable in Pisces, because this allows us to be able to expand, I believe, the creative side of us. The Pisces energy to me is allowing ourselves to daydream. It's allowing our mind to wander and look at all different possibilities, and even be a little bit childlike in the way that we approach things. And during this journey of wandering around and sort of being very playful and allowing things to sort of maybe develop out of a fog or a mystical sort of way, we start to get a different view on the world. We start to get different perspectives that we would never have explored had we not allowed our mind to wander that way. So Jupiter here is asking us to really expand that right out, allowing us to really let our mind wander in whatever direction that it wants to do, because by doing that, we're actually expanding our horizons. We're allowing ourselves to look at things from many different angles, and that can't be a bad thing. So it's also allowing our higher mind, or our intellectual part of our mind, to wander freely like a child and see what might be there, instead of being so structured and rigid and saying we've got to stay within these perimeters. So in that way, I find it's going to be a very interesting 12 months where we might start to see some creative solutions, and particularly more creative solutions in the way maybe governments approach things, deal with the pandemic, deal with, the finances of trying to move a nation forward. We may just come up with some very creative solutions there. Wouldn't it be nice if some of the world leaders got together and found some creative solutions for global warming? That'd be a real coup. But, nothing is out of the realms of possibility, and that's what I'm suggesting to you. We're living in exciting times, and particularly with Jupiter in Pisces here, anything is possible. I'm not saying that, we mightn't get more breakthroughs as far as COVID and the treatment of it, and maybe even some expanded vaccines, or maybe some different ways of approaching a vaccine. But I would like to focus more on Jupiter looking at it as a worldwide issue, and Jupiter sort of daring us to sort of daydream a little bit, or fantasize, or explore maybe things that had seemed unreal, that we can sort of, now's the right time to sort of put those into some sort of motion. And I just keep getting this feeling that Jupiter's role is going to make us look at what we're doing to the planet more, that we've tried so many other different things. Now we've got to start looking at some of those things that we poo-hooed, that we said that were ridiculous, that they were pie in the sky, or they were futuristic and would never be in our lifetime. Well, now's the time that we bring those to the forefront. So whatever the changes that are going to be brought about by Jupiter in this next 12 months, it's going to be a very creative time. It's going to be a time when we're going to see, probably more creative ways that we can enjoy the things in life that have been restricted from us, whether it's going to a concert, or, going to a restaurant, or spending, positive time in many different ways. We're going to find new and different ways of doing that. Finally, I want to talk about the moon. Now, the moon is a planet that, it's a luminary actually, but it moves so fast around the zodiac and only sits in a sign for about 2.5 days. So the moon's energy is always sort of constantly on the move, always constantly changing. And that's probably a good thing, because if we got bogged down in one of the moon cycles for too long, I think it would drive us to distraction. So the moon is actually holding hands, or conjunct them at the moment, what's known as an Arabian part, which is the part of fortune. And this is also sitting in Pisces. Now, how I take the slant on that is, yes, it's a very quick moving energy, but the moon is asking us to emotionally sort of look at what we want to change in our lives. What can we do to make our lives better? Is it just a matter of allowing ourselves to be a little bit childlike, giving ourselves permission to daydream just briefly? That's where our our greatest joy is going to come from. That's where our drive and our potential future directions are going to come from. And it may just be the beginning point. You know, we all have a beginning point when something is instigated or something is birthed. So this is what I'm looking at this as. The moon is allowing us to emotionally sort of be childlike and to sort of go into this opportunity of what would make us happy if we were able to sit there and daydream and just look out the window and fantasize and wish upon a star. What would it be? So maybe use that energy for that, and that may just be the kickstart we need to look at something much stronger or something that is a bigger project in our lives, but this is the beginning point. This is the seed. This is the conception. We're going to talk with Tiffany now in Menifee in California. Are you there, Tiffany?
Yes.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Tiffany?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have a question I can answer for you, please?
My mom.
Right.
She passed like 7 years ago. And then
okay, look, I'm sorry to hear that, Tiffany. I can still hear the pain and sadness in your voice. It's really difficult to sort of say that I can connect with your mum in such a short time that we have here on the show. But I can assure you that your mum has not left you. She's with you constantly every single day. And the last thing that she would want, Tiffany, is to see you upset. She would be hoping by now that you would find a comfortable spot in your life that you can honour her and remember her and try and remember the good things that you shared and not be sort of so emotional and still in that, you know, very early part of grief where just the mere mention of her name or the thought of her reduces you to tears. And that's not a criticism, sweetie. That's sort of like, this is what she would want for you. And we all grieve at a different process. One thing she is sharing with me, that there should be or has been a number of changes in your life in the last 6 months. Has there been some doors that have closed and you weren't necessarily a willing participant of that, but they closed anyway and you had to go along with it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, she's saying to me now, look, it's okay. You know, sometimes life just gets in the road and sometimes it's meant to get in the road because we get so locked in other areas that we haven't got time to close a door. You know, we're just so busy trying to survive. She seemed to have, to me, a very positive outlook on life. Even when things were absolutely rotten, she always found a way of trying to make life fun or to make somebody smile or somebody laugh. And, it, you know, sometimes it might be the silliest thing that she did, but at least she got the reaction that she wanted, that she broke that momentum of that really tense energy. Well, she's trying to do that with you. She's trying to do something to make you smile again. She wants to see you laugh and sing and dance again. She's showing me the month of August as being very significant as a major turning point for you. So it's sort of like whatever you're hoping to bring to a conclusion or doors that you're hoping to fly open, she's saying to me August is when things really start to move forward for you.
Okay.
Who's the dark-headed man that she's not too happy about? Is that your husband?
No, that's my dad.
Okay, but she's not happy with him. Why?
He lives with me and she doesn't like him.
Right.
We never got along and he shouldn't be at my house.
Okay. So do you feel sort of very responsible that you have to keep him there with you?
Yes, there's nobody else.
No. Look, I don't quite know how to interpret what I saw from her or what she was trying to share with me. All that she showed me was she wasn't happy about this dark-headed man and she put a major cross through it. Now, normally when they show me something like a major cross, it usually means that that situation is coming to an end now, or, you know, it's not going to be forever. So I'm not sure how to interpret that. But what I'm saying to you, that was her definite message to me, and I didn't quite understand what she meant by it, and I still don't, other than she wasn't happy. And she was very definite about this is going to come to an end. Now, I'm not predicting your father's passing. All I'm saying to you is that's the message that she's giving to me. You need to sort of just sit with that. Don't get too carried away with it. Just know that she's with you. She's there. She's helping you. And she's going to help you the very, very best that she can. So even if you get sort of what you consider to be an obscure or a strange message, oh, that can't be from mum, don't dismiss it, because some of the things that she's going to share with you may not seem in character for her. So just go along with it. But know that she's got your back, Tiffany. She's with you every single day, and she wants to see you sing and dance and smile again. That's her objective. And she'll work very hard to make that happen. So I hope that's been of help to you, sweetie.
Thank you so much. It helped a lot.
You're very, very welcome. We're going to talk with Tina in Trenton in Tennessee. Are you there, Tina?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Tina?
Do I, hon?
Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to contact my nephew. He's a missing person for 2 years.
Okay, look, my heart goes out to you, Tina. How terrible for you and the family to have, you know, such a situation where you're not getting any sort of answers. I just sort of feel that with your nephew, look, I'm going to say I think there's going to be news. I don't know that it's going to be as soon as what you'd like, but I'm going to say to you the news will be positive, but at the same time, I don't understand. I mean, you know, I'm taking it by it being positive. Yes, he's still with us, but at the same time, I don't think you're going to understand why it happened or why they made the choices that they did and put everybody through this trauma. Would it be fair to say he was a complicated young man?
No, he just had some issues with his dad. He was very good. He was a good child.
Yeah, but why am I getting a complicated energy?
I guess he's very angry because, you know, he was
Right.
with a friend and he's never was seen again.
Mm-hmm. So what are you hoping for? Are you hoping for him to sort of reach out and contact you?
Yes, just let me know, you know, because we've been searching for him for like 2 years now, almost 2 years, and we haven't found anything.
Mm-hmm. Look, I do believe he is going to reach out and contact you, and I do believe it's before the end of this year, and it's going to be at a time, Tina, when you're very, 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 very restless. And look, I can't even begin to imagine what you and the family have gone through in this last 2 years and how difficult it must be and how, you know, you're constantly looking for a sign, anything to give you some sort of indication. But what I can tell you is your energy will be even more heightened, and it's sort of like, am I picking up something's wrong? Am I picking up he's going to contact me? And it's sort of like you can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't think straight, but you're still functioning, you're still going through life. And it's at that time that I think there'll be a random sort of message left on your phone or something in that sort of communication, like you won't directly speak with him, but you'll know it's from him. And it's sort of like, well, I don't know what all the fuss is about. Well, hang on a minute. You've been out of everybody's life for 2.5 years. I'm sure we have a right to make a fuss to sort of want to know that you're alive and okay. Look, I think that'll be the start of him slowly starting to reach out to you, but he's also asking you not to sort of share any information with the family other than the fact that he's okay. Now, you have to honour that because I feel he has been through quite a lot. And I got what I termed as a complicated energy. And I wasn't quite sure how to interpret that. You said he was angry, and I agree with that part of it. But I also think that there'd been some sort of emotional type of breakdown or change in him that he didn't really want to communicate with anybody. He sort of felt he had to shut the family out. And that's one of the reasons why he disappeared the way he did and sort of felt this is what he needed to do for himself. Now, you and I can sit here and say, but, that's a silly thing to do. The family was here to help you and all this sort of thing. But if this is what he felt he needed to do for himself, then we have to respect that. We don't necessarily have to understand it or want to understand it, but we have to respect that. I do feel that when he does start to reach out and communicate with you, there's going to be times there where you're going to be scratching your head and think, gee, you've changed. You're very different to what I remember. But just be aware that's all part of the process of him peeling back the layers of the emotions that he's gone through. It's like peeling an onion and taking layer off upon layer upon layer. Eventually, I think, given the 6 months past his initial contact, you'll get to the point where you feel then that he's in a good spot, you're communicating well, and I think then he'll be ready to sort of come back to the family. So I'm encouraging you to stay strong, keep positive. I know he's still with us. It's just his choice not to contact anybody at the moment. As hard as that might seem, this is something he needs to do for himself, Tina. So I wish you and the family well with your quest to reconnect with him. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show again, and it's always difficult when people lose contact with loved ones and things like that for many various reasons. There's a lot of missing people around the world, and my heart goes out to each and every family that's involved in something like that. We always have to remain positive until we're told otherwise. So let's hope that there's going to be a major breakthrough for Tina and her family, but also for the other families around the world that have got missing loved ones, that it's the time for everybody to just check in with home and say, hey, I'm alive. I mightn't want to be part of the family, but you can stop worrying. I am alive. And I think that that's a really important thing that we should all be aiming to do, is make sure that we are in contact with our family and that everybody knows that we are still alive and well, and, we just choose to tread a different path maybe from the rest of the family. So until next week, enjoy Jupiter in Pisces, and let's hope we have some really wonderful daydreaming times and listening to some beautiful music, or losing yourself in your favourite movie or your mini series or your Netflix or whatever your choice of poison might be on watching TV. And it's a great time to be alive, and just enjoy this Jupiter in Pisces at the moment, and we can all become much more creative. Until next week, bye for now.